Welcome back to the Next Game Dilemma, your board gaming podcast. Today, we're tackling Through the Ages, a new story of civilization. The game that asks a simple question: what if building a civilization was mostly cubes, tough choices, and quiet panic? From ancient farms to modern warfare, this is a game where every card matters, mistakes echo through the centuries, and somehow you're still short on workers. Is it brilliant? Is it exhausting? Is it both? Let's go. Back at it one more time with my good friend Jason here.
What's up, y'all?
We are back to talk about the game that we didn't leave off last time, but we said we really wanted to talk about it in depth.
Yeah, so as the game that kind of brought us back to the table, it captured me so hard because I had played this game. We're talking about Through the Ages, the story of
a new story of civilization.
New story.
So yeah, let's get all this stuff out of the way here. We are talking about Civilization Through the Ages, a new story of civilization. Player count 2 to 4. I think best around 3 to 4.
Yeah.
The 2-player is fun, but makes military conflict kind of weak. Playtime is 2 hours plus, pretty much no matter. Once you get to 3 and 4 players, 2 hour plus.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's more than 3 hours if everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I think when me and Christina play, it typically takes about 2.5 hours.
Yes, sir.
So,
yeah. And that's a 3-player. I think 4-player would probably add like 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
But again, if they're at the same sort of speed that we're at.
Yeah.
This doesn't have a co-op mode or anything like that. It's purely PvP. Us against whoever.
Each other. Yeah.
It does have a solo mode actually though.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, at least I don't know about the actual physical board game, but I know Christina plays just one versus the computer.
Oh, yeah. So on the digital version, you can play against AI.
And I think there's a solo mode. I don't remember.
They have challenges.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, that'll be like they'll alter the rules a little for the challenge. And basically it's like all of the computers versus you. But they'll attack each other and stuff too.
Yeah. They'll play like they're supposed to, sort of.
Yeah.
So it originally printed in 2006. It got a reimagining or re-skinned sort of for 2015. And that's the current version that we're playing, the current version that is available to everybody. It only has one expansion, New Leaders and Wonders, which was released in 2020. So it's still updated. I mean, the last expansion is only 5 years old. And I mean, it's as of right now, it sits on the Board Game Geek rating, number 16 overall.
I did not realize that.
Yep.
Holy cow.
It holds a current rating of 3.8. I'm sorry, of
8.3.
8.3 that my dyslexia is showing. And, it sits around the $80 mark right now. Yeah.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah. So, of course, I'm going to let you read off the designer, publisher, and artists. Go for that.
Yeah. So the designer, wait, I had to look up the pronunciation of this. So it's Vlaada Chvátil. It's spelled Chvatil. But yeah, Google confirms it's pronounced Chvátil. Vladya Chvátil. So Vladya Chvátil might be my favorite designer. He's published at least one other game, Space Alert, that I really liked. I think that's also a Czech Games edition. That's the publisher for Through the Ages.
And this designer's also worked on like a lot of random things. He worked on Space Truckers. He worked on Codenames.
Yes, Codenames. Absolutely.
It's really weird, sort of the range of board games that he's worked on.
Yeah, and for people that are unfamiliar with the other game I mentioned, Space Alert, that's a real-time...
Wait, he did that too?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a game that has been sitting on the shelf for far too long.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a hard game to get to the table.
Getting through the first learn, I feel, is...
Isn't it a minimum like 6 people?
No. You can play with as few as 3.
Oh, okay.
It's just... Honestly, that's a good example of a game that scales well, no matter how many people play.
Mm.
Fewer people means fewer action, so it's harder because of that. But more people means more confusion.
Okay.
But that's an entirely different game where basically you're trying to plan around each other without having full information about everything because you're under a time crunch.
Actual real time.
So in real time, you're trying to manage your ship that is being attacked by various space entities.
I did not see this designer helping with that or being a lead designer there. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it's his game.
That's
through
cool.
and through.
That's cool.
So yeah, this guy has range. I think last week we covered was it Flamecraft and Tea Witches,
Mm-hmm.
and those were both the same designer. I think maybe we should look into more of his titles, see if there's anything more we can explore. Maybe not for next week, but for the future, I would love to do a designer episode about him.
Anybody that's been in the hobby, I'd be hard pressed to not know what Codenames is.
Oh yeah. Codenames definitely one of the most popular. I mean, you can find it in Target. It's a easy party game, incredibly engaging.
Still fun.
Yeah, I've never brought it to a table where anyone was like, "Yeah, let's play something else."
Yeah, maybe it gets a little repetitive after a couple playthroughs. But it's definitely one of those games that if you put it to the shelf and you're like, "Hey, let's play this," and bring it back out, there's always that spark of joy again.
Oh yeah.
The publisher is Chet's Games Edition, right?
Chet Games Edition.
Games Edition. And go ahead with those artists because I'm not going to attempt to say those.
Okay, so we got Philip Mermach, Radim Peck, Jacob Politzer, and Milan Vavron. I'm sure I've butchered all of those names.
That's why I don't attempt with names, man. I don't know what it is about those. They mess my brain up.
Yeah, our small American minds can't comprehend European names.
Yeah, clearly. So how would you describe the art of this or the theme and the artwork of it? Okay,
so theme-wise, well, let's stick to the art actually, because it's mostly cards and just a few board games. So a lot of it is iconography and text. Where the art is, it's all very coherent. It feels like an old school, like maybe an original Sid Meier's Civilization game.
Very much so. The art, at least.
The art, yeah. But it does a really good job of realistically depicting the different technologies and people and things you would expect to see in a historical Civilization game. Narratively, of course, you're leading in a fictional world, running a nation under whatever comes up on the board. Kind of like if you've ever played Wingspan or Ascension or anything like that. It's a similar style where you'll have a board, a row of available technologies and wonders and all kinds of things that represent the direction that your civilization is moving in, and the actions that you take to select those takes those options away from other players. The setting, I don't know, it all feels so unique. Every run through, it really feels like you're leading a new civilization that's never existed before, that has its own strengths and weaknesses, no matter how you play.
Very true. I think what sets this game not necessarily apart, it's how smooth everything plays. When you open the box, it's gonna look daunting because there's so many cubes, how much setup is necessary, and then the continuation of just getting cubes, putting cubes, and this game benefits from its digital version for sure.
Oh, God. So, yeah, physically playing the game, there's a lot to manage. There's a lot of bits, a lot of cubes.
But it's really simple. Like, there's not much. There's a board, cards, a few player boards, and cubes.
Yeah, I think the thing that makes it a little bit of a drag in playing the physical, not even a drag. I don't want to make it sound like I'm shitting on this game. This game is amazing. It's one of my favorites. For every action you take, you're moving multiple bits on the board. And so one action will involve like, okay, well, I need to use these resources. So you're pulling 2 cubes from here, sometimes moving one to one area and moving one to another area. That's paying for the resources for the action that you took. Now you're moving something else to represent the actual action that you took. There's a lot to keep track of, a lot of moving pieces. And the digital board game, and for any game where there's a lot to keep track of, the digital almost always, cuts out a lot of the downtime as far as like managing those bits. So yeah, absolutely. I own both. I've bought the digital game, 2 or 3 times. Actually, no, I don't own the physical game. You own the physical game. I'm borrowing it from you.
I was wondering, I'm like, where is it? Because I wanted to pick it up today to bring it into the new studio.
Oh, yeah.
So we can take a couple pictures and stuff. Yeah, I'm like, does he still have it? Because I can't fucking find it.
Oh, you should have asked me before.
I'm not worried about it because we were going to play it, so I didn't really care that much like that. It's funny how we went from playing this game. We wanted to play, or we started playing this game because it was so impossible, but it was one of those games that whenever we thought about getting it to the board, we're like, 3 hours, But we finally sort of just bit that bullet, got into it, got crunchy. It was fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
So yeah, I will say learning it was a struggle.
I wouldn't say it was a struggle necessarily. It's just how little there sort of is to do. All the decisions, every decision matters.
Oh yeah. Well, so okay. So there's the aspect of learning the meta, learning like, okay, a person that takes this leader is probably going to want this wonder or this government or whatever.
Yeah, we haven't quite got there yet.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've definitely scratched the surface of that.
We're
Like,
getting there. We're getting to the point where we're like, of course you take that,
yeah, of course, yeah. So, and it's definitely, we've gotten to the point now where sort of the big swing governments and technologies and stuff like that, we don't have to read them anymore. We know what they do.
The more you play it, the more you're comfortable you come with it, the faster your decisions will be, and the more you're going to learn what is strong or stronger than other cards. And even being behind in the games will benefit you because you'll know what's good from behind. Pause.
So I have so many thoughts about this game running through my head all the time, but I think where I left off.
Yeah, if you want to go over the core mechanics and some of the player interactions there.
Yeah, well, okay, so I wanted to talk about the mechanics. So mechanically, learning the game was a little difficult. So we had been playing the game physically really wrong for like, what, 4 or 5 games that we played? Maybe 3.
I think it was like 3.
Yeah, maybe 3 games we played. We were playing basically like a slow motion version of the game.
Yes.
So when we slid over to digital, so that we could play when we weren't together, that's when we realized, oh, we messed up.
Yeah.
So instead of refreshing that the market board, I guess I forget what it's actually called in the game, where all the technologies and wonders and all of your decisions, the bank that you have to choose from there, we were refreshing it after everyone had taken a turn, when we should have been refreshing it every time a single turn was taken.
So essentially, imagine just a game that's supposed to happen 3 times faster. Essentially,
Yeah.
we were playing it at a snail's pace because our interpretation of how how the item should be refreshed. So now we're playing it correctly, and it seems, I mean, it really is much faster.
Oh yeah.
But it also changed the way we played.
Yeah. In fact, it almost feels like learning the game again. Wow, when you have all the time in the world, and your opponents have all the time in the world as well to grab the technologies that are out, there's a bit of relaxation. Like you're not as stressed about like, oh, okay, that one, I don't want to spend 3 actions to buy something so far up the market board. I'll wait for it to come down.
Right.
You don't have that for a lot of the highly sought after cards. You don't have that luxury.
When we were playing before, it was like, okay, these are the cards that everybody will see, and nobody will see anything new, anything that I had to chase. If I don't have anything to chase now, I'm good. And then you can sort of wait for it to come down. But the way it actually was meant to be played, the way we refresh after everybody's turn, sometimes now, depending on your turn position, if there is a card that comes out at the very end, you're never going to see that card.
Yeah. Especially if it's highly sought after.
Yes, or not even if there's just highly sought after cards on the board and people buy a lot during that round, it just pushes it down to the very end so fast that you might not just get to see it.
Yeah.
It all depends. The game has a really good amount of variance.
Yeah, every game. Like, there's a few things that you'll expect to see. Like, okay, whichever player took the Colossus is probably also going to take Alexander the Great, or things like that. Where, like, okay, they're leaning towards combat. Okay, this person's leaning towards economy or whatever. You'll expect to see some things the more you play. That's part of the learning the meta of some types of games like this.
Yeah. Also because the way it's played, ages or
each age, yeah.
It's played over 4 or 3.
It's 3.
So since it's played over 3 ages, at the very beginning, that's the one you'd be the most familiar with, because even in games where you're like, when we learned to play the game, we played through the first age, and then we're like, whew, that was a lot to learn. So we called it there, and then we played up until the second age of the next time, and then the third age, and so on. And that's sort of how we ended up dissecting this sort of monster.
Yeah.
One bit at a time. And then we still ended up playing it wrong.
Yeah.
But once we got through all that, like you said, you become very familiar with what comes up first because it's the first age. You see it the most, you play it the most. you're going to get really familiar with that. It feels like the second age, and especially the third age, that's where you really have to start reading the cards more. You're like, what does that do?
Yeah.
Just because you don't see them as often.
Like as we've plowed out more games, the beginning started off, rough the first time around. Second game around, first one was easy. Learning the second, age was more difficult. And you're going to go through that naturally. So I really do like that we did that, where it was like, okay, 1 age first game, 2 ages second game. And we didn't even do that intentionally. It was just how time, worked out for us.
Yeah. And because we were so sort of new to it, one player was getting away with the game, like just leading far. We're like, we're pretty much going to call it here.
Yeah.
As newbies, we didn't see a way to catch up or do anything like that. So,
and which is fine because it's the learning game. As long as you go in understanding like, okay, we're not finishing this game.
Right.
We're here to fucking learn. If you take that approach, it's way easier.
I think that's like a hardcore board gamers mentality now. If you're a casual, nothing against casuals, you're not going to do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You're not
for
gonna,
sure. Yeah.
You're like, can we just play blank instead? Can we play Azul instead? Can we play this or that?
Right.
Something with a definitive end. And I get that.
Yeah.
When I was newer to the board game area and to the hobby, games like that, I never thought I'd finish games like this or StarCraft or any of the other sort of big games that we played, even just once.
Yeah.
Getting through them is honestly a challenge in itself sometimes. You have talked about many times trying to get Twilight Imperium onto the board and how that would be a dream scenario for you, right? So I think getting through these type of games, it's not an easy thing. So if you're going to sit down and learn the game for, 2 hours and call it at that and then restart again the next day or, whenever you get together, that's a commitment,
Yeah.
This game is definitely one of those games that you have to commit a little bit of your time, a little bit of your brain power to not shut off during other people's turns, which is really easy because everybody takes independent turns.
Yeah. And, kind of like with most of these worker placement games, it's like you can plan to a certain extent, but you're really paying attention to what everyone's doing because a lot of the times they want the same thing you want.
Yeah, it's mostly the cards that you're paying attention to in this case.
Yeah, and I think that's a really nice part of the design here is because the one thing that affects everyone and their decision making is all on that one board. Everything else is very local to you and you alone.
Yeah,
your
resources are your resources. The interaction in this game there's not no interaction, but the interaction in this game is actually one of the few points that sort of have it doesn't sit well with me the way the rest of the game works.
What do you mean?
So I'll get to that mechanic or I'll get to that point in a little bit. Let's continue talking a little bit more about the core mechanics of the game because we know there's drafting essentially.
Yep.
There's drafting. There's resource management.
Yes.
And there's a lot of social interaction too. I mean, there could be depending on
diplomacy.
Yeah, okay, diplomacy.
We'll call it diplomacy.
Yes.
Yeah,
because there are treaties that you can make.
Yep, trade pacts,
all kinds of little things like that, and those are all interesting in how they work. Usually it's player A gets this resource or player B gets this for this. Lots of like trades and little benefits that you can do like that.
Yeah,
and then there's of course war.
War and. What was the other one? It was Aggressions.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually am not a fan of the war system here.
Oh, you don't? You're not happy with the combat?
I'm not happy with the combat. I think it should be more impactful.
Okay. Well, okay. So that was going to be the one thing. So when we first started playing, we were playing with just the physical, and then I was the first one to get the digital board game. So I took a lot of advantage of the AI, like the challenges. I didn't want to play straight up games because I felt like I'd be giving myself an unfair advantage when I went back to the table with everybody. Mm-hmm. So I was just playing these challenges because they changed the rules. So it wouldn't be strictly like, oh, I'm picking up a lot of experience here. I was only picking up experience with altered rule sets. But it did end up helping me out a lot in normal gameplay because I realized if you can't ignore, you cannot, there's no way to do well in the game if you just straight up ignore military.
I've gone down that road.
Yeah. You have to
it is a balance. It is a dance.
Yeah, it is. It is because as soon as someone has a huge lead on you, you're done. Like either
You're
you
the
spend the
target.
rest of your game
Mm-hmm.
trying to pump up your military, and that's all you're going to be able to do, or you roll over and just accept the beating, and then they don't have to expend any more resources on their military.
So here's my thing on that. 100% agree. If you spend your time in military, you should have a payoff.
Yeah,
Versus
yeah.
other players, right?
Absolutely.
I don't feel that the way it is, everybody should be putting a little bit of their resources into military, mostly just to keep each other at bay.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it. Everybody should be somewhat, because otherwise you become the target.
right.
Right. The way the game works is if I have 5 military and you have 5 military, we can't interact.
Yeah, we're basically going to stay away from each other.
Right. But if Christina or your partner, Savvy, happens to be playing the game and she has 3, all of a sudden I can attack her. She becomes a available target.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not even out of like I'm going to attack you type thing. It's just like you are available.
Yeah. And here's the thing: for the first few games, like we didn't push military all
We
that
didn't
much.
play with military.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. For
Just-
the
just
learning
because-
rounds,
yeah.
we leave the combat out.
Yeah, just because we wanted to learn every other system, and this game does give you options to play the game passively.
Yeah.
It takes away a little bit from it. Takes a lot of the complexity out for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, so I understand what you're saying about the combat, because I will say, like, it's a little bit of that cosmic encounter element where you may want to attack someone, but you don't have the card in your hand that
Yes.
allows you to take any action against
there
anybody.
is some variance in the game to where it's unfavorable. Like you could do everything right and draw the wrong cards.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna make or break you. Like it might not break you, but it definitely will affect how good you are. Like I said, if you and me have 5, right, we can't really attack each other. But if
Right.
somebody else has less, they have 3. Or they have 3, I can now interact with them aggressively. I can put aggression to them. I can even start wars.
Right.
Right. That is if I had the card.
Yeah.
There's gone times where I've put a lot of attention to my military, getting it up, both, making it all as good as it can be, Marines and all that shit, like cannons, everything, tanks. Christina held all the aggression cards. It just so happened that even though I had a mighty military, my government wasn't for it, so I wasn't drawing as many cards as she was. Her government allowed her to draw like 4 cards at the end, so she had all of those available tricks to use, whereas I was just whatever the fate gave me.
Yeah.
That was it.
Okay, so I do want to say this. I appreciate the design. It took me a long time to kind of understand why, because I saw that right away. In one of the first games where we played with military, I think you were the one that was trying to do the arms race thing, where it's like, no, I'm getting all the military.
Mhm.
And I realized, like, exactly what we had just described is that, he has all this military, but he's not fucking attacking anybody. So it doesn't matter that he's dumping all his resources into military. And I realized you hadn't had any of the governments or any of the other things that increase your political actions. Your political actions also determine how many cards you draw from the deck, where all of the aggression and war cards are.
Yeah, all the actual interaction
Yeah.
and all the things that are sort of like events that would happen throughout the civilization. That deck is determined by your government.
Yeah.
So-
well, and other things. You
And
can
other
buy
things.
other upgrades too.
But it's primarily.
Yeah, as far as things that can allow you to draw more military cards or more action or have more actions to buy more cards, those are chiefly like the biggest swings are coming from your government. And government is both in order to change your government, depending on the government, it's going to cost you a lot of either all of your civil actions or a shitload of technology. Man, it's hard to describe all of the mechanics because
There's
they're
so
so
many
intertwined,
mechanics.
and they're all intertwined.
Yeah. A triggers B, B triggers C, and then you're going to want D for E.
Yeah.
Which is, there's a reason why it has a complexity rating of what it does, which I believe was like 4 point something out of 5.
Oh goodness, is it that high?
Yeah.
Man, I was thinking it might be like a high 3.
It was fairly high from what I looked at. It was like definitely a 4.
Yeah.
Again, this is all Board Game Geek. If you're a bit more casual, you might not even understand what we're talking about there. But if you do follow and are into the hobby, you'll understand a bit more of the jargon there.
Yeah, the weight is basically how heavy a game is as far as complexity goes. So the heavier a game is, the more brain power you're going to burn playing it, essentially.
It seems weird that we're talking about such a complex game for our second podcast back, but we really want to dive right back in it just because it is a super heavy game, and we're jazzed that we're playing so much of it.
Yeah, this game really grabbed me by the short and curlies because I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was constantly playing the digital version.
So how do you feel the learning curve is?
The learning curve? So we were talking about how we played, just the first age, and then we came back and played just the first 2 ages and so on. The rule book does actually suggest and recommend playing this way. It'll, in fact, guide you through your entire first game. Just to kind of outline. So there's 2 rule books. There's the main rule book, and then there's like the starter rule book, I think. And that was a heaven send for learning the game. It's still through my fault, it's no fault of the games at all or the designers. I'm very ADHD. I find that I'm really good at reading and comprehending everything, but when it's a lot, I tend to start speeding up. I start glancing over things like, oh, I understand this. Yeah, I can. Okay. Yeah, you're going to do the thing. Yeah, okay.
Because you want to get to the board game.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, who hasn't played a game wrong for years and then been like, oh, that's not how this works at all.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite Reddit threads is when those pop up. It's like, just encounter this rule. How many of you guys been screwing up over the years?
It's a full thread of people going, never. This actually reminds me of a long time ago when they sort of made a small reboot of Devil May Cry.
Mm-hmm.
We were playing it, and I'm pretty sure it was either you or Tom, and I was playing it through, and I got to the boss level, and I was literally just beating that motherfucker's ass, just whooping him, and it kept getting to this one point where he would be downed, and then I wouldn't know what to do. I'm like, well, how do I finish him off? And dude, I played this one boss fight for like an hour, and Tom is like, I could either you or him just hovering above me, and they're just like, I can't believe you're not like you're gonna make me do it for you, and it's like what? And then like you leaned over or he leaned over and he pushed the button, and I went into demon mode. I hit him, and like I finally did damage to him. I'm like, this entire time you watched me here, just struggling, just not knowing that it was so frustrating. But that's kind of how I felt with this because you missed one tiny thing. Yeah. And it changed the entire game.
Entire game.
And again, it's not just you. We all missed it.
Yeah.
You know? Got to get those games in. Got to get those reps. Hey. And it's good to learn, have somebody else teach you the game that's already played it.
It also helps you appreciate the game design a little more when you accidentally play it wrong. Because then you start playing it right and you see how it affects the game and how, that's why. That's why. That's what, you know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. You're like, this is much smoother.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of games in this sort of space, because they're so big, have a lot of downtime. How do you feel the downtime is with this one in particular?
I do think it does have a fair amount of downtime. However, because the game itself is so crunchy and there's so many things that you really are considering, while other people are going, it's almost welcome.
A small break.
Yeah, like you need the time to kind of lean back in your chair and kind of take in and appreciate, like, what are my opponents doing? What's he got over there? It takes, like, even when you make a small decision of like, okay, I think I need to start pushing some other objective or something, like, there's a card, that I need to grab. That's really gonna, like, I cannot pass this card on the draft on my turn. Everything requires either setting up beforehand or following through afterwards. It kind of guides you itself. You kind of find yourself following the same paths from game to game where you might make a different branching decision, but like along that decision, you're going to make similar decisions as previous games.
So with the learning curve on this one, I think if the way we delved into it, the learning curve is pretty big. But like you said, the not single player, but the first player campaign, the first booklet for just that one first game, like you said, godsend. Yeah. Very nice. And they even tell you, like, they're explaining to you, this is a big game. Yeah. There's a lot to do. Try this first. See how you get through this. See how you like it. It ended up being exactly what we needed.
Yeah.
Because it kept us wanting, like, okay, Now I want to see what the next cards are because like I said, we only played to the first age.
Yep.
It got us curious to what the second age and third age is going, and not only that, because we played it without war or the aggressions, we also were ready to start that up. We got like little tiny glimpses, but we didn't see. We're like, oh shit, here comes this red military card. Oh shit, here comes this bigger red military card. Okay. And, it got the juices flowing. I thought the learning curve was acceptable for how big a game it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you follow that the game's recommendations, it's a smooth experience and it's engaging all the way through. You're never feeling like, ugh, when is this over?
Yeah. Which gets me to my next point. How do you feel the pacing is?
Oh, wonderful. I will say it's a lot faster now. Now that we're playing properly. When we were playing with the wrong rules, the game felt really long, but it still felt like
somehow good.
Yeah. Like we were all very much agonizing over the fact that we'd been sitting at the table for 4 hours before, seeing the end when we were playing incorrectly. But when we started playing correctly, it did seem like we were playing at warp speed. It felt like manageable. Like it didn't feel...
It felt correct. The correct pace.
It still feels a little too fast. The pacing, like I feel like I need a moment, but knowing that you guys are also under the same time pressure for that stuff does make it feel balanced and equal. I think our pace, or my view on the pacing, is going to be different because we were playing wrong for basically half the time that we were playing.
Right.
Not that I would ever say to someone that, oh, don't get the game. You don't, if you don't like downtime, like it's fine. You're gonna need all the time, especially when learning. And then if you're playing with the same groups over and over, they'll be getting speedier as you get speedier. So I think it all balances well, but that could be just our play group and our somewhat close acuity.
So after all that, we still want more.
Oh yeah.
So I would say the replayability, at least for us, is very high. Very high,
yeah. There's so much variance in how a game can go. There's a lot of decisions that you'll want to make, but it's a market board. It's a drafting game. Like those options won't always be available to you.
For the amount of time and effort that you put into this game, I think that it really tells just how good a game it is by how much excitement we still have towards it.
Yeah. I never, like, every time we start a new game, I'm excited for the possibilities. I'm excited to see what unfolds and trying to anticipate and outmaneuver. There's a lot of intentionality behind it. I really need to pick up my own copy because I don't think there's ever going to be a time when I don't want to get this to the table.
It is a game that if we had the time for, and I knew the group that we were playing with knows how to play or is at least to that sort of same level, absolutely. Let's get this to the table. Am I excited about teaching it to new people?
Maybe not.
A little bit less. Again, because it's such a commitment, the person that I'd have to be teaching it to have to be really, really down, to want to play this more than once. Because teaching somebody this type of game and then never playing it again feels rough.
Yeah, that's a bad time because it takes so much. There's so much to learn that once you start diving in, if you know that you're never going to come back to it, why bother? Like it's heartbreaking.
Right. So we've talked a lot about the positives of the game and how much we like it, the excitement, all good things. Even the art. The art is simple, but it shows what it needs to.
Yeah.
Beautiful in its simplistic way.
Yeah.
What would you change if you had to change? May that be, a better setup? Maybe, would you change the player count that it's meant to be for? Strategy, house rules? Now, we haven't even talked about the fact that this does have an expansion. We haven't played with the expansion.
No. We played with some of the extra cards in the digital version.
Right. But we don't have any of... Does it give it like asymmetricness to it?
No.
No?
Everything's still symmetric. Everyone starts at the same government.
There's just more of it.
Yeah, there's just more things that will appear in the decks.
Well,
in the market.
That is something to be said. Maybe next time we can chase down the expansion and get that going.
Yeah.
But what would you change if you had to change something from it?
Oh, man, I would definitely change not a goddamn thing. This game is fucking beautiful. It's perfect. It's a masterpiece.
I think the only thing that I would change is, like I said, I want combat to be a little bit more impactful, I think,
Yeah.
because again, we talked about having to have the right cards for it. It feels a lot that if you have spent time, building your army and building your military force, you should be rewarded for it. And there are some points at the end of the game and some other stuff that, depending on what comes up, you'll have the ability to gain points, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot of control over it. I'm a guy that likes to go into a game and I like to try different types of victory. Especially if the game is like, oh, there's, you don't have to go this way for victory. You don't just have to do this. You can do this. With this game, it's very much about the points and doing everything just right.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you're a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
And in this game, very much so. Not, some other games let you go full food or full resources and you can find a victory that way. Or full military even. This game did not feel that way for me. I played 2 different games where I went heavy military just to see if there was like a good path to victory,
Yeah.
I like to try everything out.
See if there was an obvious path. Yeah.
Right. And there just wasn't. I felt really behind by the end because I didn't have a lot of those cards. And when I did have those cards, it was a game where everybody was a lot more equal. So as soon as I'm like, hey, I'm attacking you, it's like, okay, well, here's 3 war or 3 whatever to negate your attack.
Yeah.
And I felt like every time that I did that and I wasn't able to gain anything, I fell really far behind.
For sure. Yeah. No, absolutely. I agree with that. But I think that's part of the learning experience. So maybe that's why I look at combat a little differently. I was trying to make this point earlier and my ADHD kind of fucking sidetracked me. You brought this up, whereas like you had all this strength, but as I pointed out, you didn't have the political actions, which to me, thematically speaking, that means you have all of this military strength in your government, but nothing to do with it. To me, thematically speaking, like it's kind of the equivalent of buying a warehouse full of guns, but like not having any people to give them to. You know what I mean? You had the strength, sure. And I think that's a part of the intentionality behind everything. And like everything you want, like if you want to pick something and do something well in this game, you have to invest a lot of your actions towards that.
Yes.
It all has to be a concerted effort.
I just felt that you were rewarded more for going that route in any other route. Other than war. Not that you don't have to, just it feels like it can't be your main focus.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
again, just my little thing that I would change for me. Like, for example, if I were to attack you, or if I were to use an aggression to attack you because I wanted your resources. Now the way it works is you have to use your cards in order to match my army, and then whether or not my attack is successful, right? Mm-hmm. If everything went through and you got those resources, I think maybe you should get an additional like point per resource, just to sort of even out where you would get the points in the game. Because I felt like even if you were successful, the amount of energy that it took you to be able to get to that point isn't enough for the reward of the card. Even the war cards, like you have to be so far ahead to get points with the war cards. Because it says, you have to beat them, and the difference is how many points you would get.
Those also escalate through the ages. So yeah, the early age wars are barely worth it. You have to have a really big lead, like you pointed out.
I think there's only 4 war cards in the entire deck as well.
No, there's not. For the long time when we were playing wrong, also before we started playing digitally, we were also drawing the wrong number of military or political cards, and I've noticed ever since then I've been seeing a lot more come through my hand, even when I'm not doing,
because they get reshuffled.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
But here's the thing. For military in this game, I don't think it's supposed to be a path to victory. I think it's supposed to be a balancing, like a part of the game that keeps all of the players keeping themselves in check.
Yeah, which is fine. It just, whenever there's a game that, I'm not saying that this game specifically said anything like there's multiple ways to victory, but it definitely looks that way.
Yeah.
So there's always that one person that wants to min-max, like, oh, in Agricola, when I make, every time I make wood, I get a point, and then I can sell this wood for this, and then I can do that. All of a sudden, wood becomes your engine. You're the wood guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I just felt like I always try to take that mentality with other games, just to even in T-Witches when I score really low, it's probably because I was trying something stupid.
Because you're trying to specialize in something you
Yeah,
shouldn't.
yeah, and figuring out what's strong, what's not strong, just like every other game. That's just the way I dissect games when I play them.
Yeah, for
You know?
sure.
That would be my own. That's my only tiny gripe. Everything else, even the long play time, is fine for me.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy the meatiness of this game.
Yeah. I want to say, I think the internet loves numbers, so we got to give it a number rating, right? I would give it a 9.5. Easy.
Okay, so this would end up probably in your top 10 games.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, for sure. I'd put it easy 8.
8? Okay.
Easy 8. For the amount of effort that it took to learn and how replayable it is, how much of it is like competitiveness, because you got sort of competitive, Christina got sort of competitive with it. So I like that. I like when people sort of like to match each other's energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, 8 for me. I would definitely play it again. I'm glad I own it.
I'm glad you own the 2015 printing.
That too.
Because everything's been updated. You don't have to worry about, is this the old version? It's supposed to do something different,
Yeah. But for sure, this game is for somebody who is going to doesn't mind putting in the time to learn and doesn't mind putting in the time to actually play the game because of how much of a commitment it is. So, like you said, don't bring it over to your casual night. But if you know 4 gamers that want to play something interesting or 3 other gamers that want to sit down and, create a good civilization.
Yeah, I definitely think this is the type of game you can't fully enjoy without repeated plays. No, this is a game that you're going to come back to repeatedly and should come back to repeatedly.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's definitely for the more hardcore, or maybe if you like political type games, civilization type games, this is something that might be for you. It's old enough now to where you can find plenty of reviews, guides, strategy, even lots of resources for you. So this is a game that you don't have to go in blind either.
Yeah.
It's not like a newer game that's at this heft that you don't know what you're going to get. This game is tried and true. It's been on the Board Game Geek Top 100 for a long time.
Yeah, I can't believe it came out in 2006 and it's still sitting in the top 20. That's crazy.
Yeah, not only the top 100, the top 20. What would you compare this game to if you had to?
Okay, so we played the Sid Meier's Civilization game. That was actually my first Civilization board game.
Heavy in its own right.
Yeah, definitely heavy and definitely very different from this because everyone starts off with variable player powers.
And it is the board,
there's the exploration
your board. Yeah,
and that is something that I feel is missing from Through the Ages, but it's not needed. It wouldn't add anything to Through the Ages. Right. I feel in the Sid Meier's Civilization board game, I think it worked out really well. Comparatively, I don't. In fact, before we started recording, I was trying to find other games that I could compare it to that we might bring up through the podcast. But really, it's this game and that game. I know there's a bunch of other games, but not ones that I've played and also not ones that I've seen frequently mentioned, like online or anything like that. Man, I could see... this is the sort of game I want to build a community around. I want to fill a room with fucking nerdy geeks like us, just all playing Through the Ages and like tournament bracket style, like just trying to see who's the best.
Yeah, we needed to look more into the World Series of board games.
Yes.
Sure.
Wait, that's a thing?
That is a very big thing. We actually know one of the world champions.
Who?
I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. He used to be a Magic player at Little Shop with us.
Oh.
And yeah, I think he won like not last year's, but the year before's World Championship.
That's crazy.
Veering off topic, of course. It's structured as in like you have to win qualifiers of a certain game and then play a final game. So you're not just playing one game all the way through. You're playing multiple different games and then finishing with one big game.
Oh, wow. So,
and they're all like fairly competitive-ish games. Some I don't like because it's too random. But like one of them is like Puerto Rico.
Oh.
Things like that. Those style of games where it's very, very tight.
Yeah.
We'll have a whole episode on that one and talk into the future because it's hosted here in Vegas as well.
Oh, I can't wait.
The only one that I would say that is not comparable, but I would say, hey, if you like this, but you need like a more streamlined version, something that you can get to the table. I actually, you said it jokingly, but 7 Wonders.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does definitely hit the same themes. Like it's trying to convey the idea of like, oh, you're the leader of a civilization, and you decide how the civilization develops.
Yeah, it has drafting, it has combat, it has some aggression. But I feel like if you like the theme of it, but you don't want the heaviness of it, Seven Wonders.
Yeah,
is actually, like I said, it feels weird because they play nothing alike. But like I said, it's mostly theme based. If you want something that's theme based that would feel like it, that's the way I would go.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if you want Civilization, there's some Civ games, but if you want something that's a mini version of this, Seven Wonders could fill that slot for you.
Is there anything in between those two games?
That's, like I said, because the mechanics are so different.
Yeah.
And the way everything sort of comes together, it fits too perfectly for other games to try to mimic it.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are other games that are like, hey, it's a space station game that it feels like Seven Wonders. Maybe it's out there, but I haven't come across it.
Yeah.
I think that's going to do it for us, at least for the Civilization part of this conversation. Got maybe like 5-10 more minutes. Anything you want to talk about?
I am excited for the holidays coming up. I did get your family a board game. I'm not going to tell you which one.
No, that's definitely going to be for review next time. I'm assuming it's a brand new to both of us?
Yeah, brand new to both of us.
Okay. And I also have gotten you one for your family as well. Hopefully it'll fill that niche that I think I got you and Tom the same game actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I hope it fills the role that you guys need.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope so.
I like it. I'm a big. You'll see. It's gonna be fun to talk about these games next time. But yeah, if hopefully you'll be with us again for when we end up talking about those holiday surprises.
Yeah.
And
please
then,
join us.
Yes, please. And then we also have our good friend Alex coming over today with hopefully his brother's game, the Castles of Burgundy.
Yeah.
Another top 100 board game geek.
Yeah, I've never gotten to play it, so I've been eager to play anything on the top 100.
It has been on my list to not only play, but buy, just blind buy, because of how well received and how many people are just like, no, buy this game.
Yeah.
And apparently it's dice-based, and I hate dice-based games. So I really want to see what all the hype is about.
So I hate dice games in general. I love a good dice game because luck mitigation is important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a strong design concept.
Yeah, there's a reason why I don't play. There's multiple reasons why I don't play 40K. But dice rolling is definitely one of them.
Who doesn't enjoy throwing 40 dice at once?
That's BB. BB's all orcs all day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, there you go. All right, but that's going to do it for us here at the Next Game Dilemma from Noel and Jason.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Take it easy.
Thank you.